With so many trail shoes on the market, it's difficult to sort through all the options to find that one shoe that suits the needs of a runner. Some work better on ice and snow, others have the breathability you want for your long runs in summer's heat. Some are made for the mountain trails high atop the Cascade mountain range, while others tackle the tropical trails and river crossings in beautiful Maui, Hawaii. But what if there was a shoe that tackled every one of these conditions and did it flawlessly? It's time to run in the Brooks Cascadia 17. Hey guys, my name is Joel. Welcome back to the Time to Run channel where I do most of the research so you don't have to do it all on your own. Before I start this review, I just need to cover a couple of disclosures first. Brooks sent me the Cascadia 17 for free for the purpose of review, but they've not given me any prompts or guidance of what they would like me to say. To be clear, these opinions and observations are my own. Now let's get to the review. And let's start off with the specs. Originally released in 2023, Brooks designed this shoe to be a max cushion neutral shoe with 3.9mm lugs, surprisingly still really grippy compared to my usual preferred tread depth of 5mm that I love for snowbound runs. These sport their DNA Loft version 2 midsole. We have 20mm of stack in the forefoot while 28mm of stack in the back, giving us an overall 8mm drop. My pair of US men's size 12 weighs in at 380 grams or 13.4 ounces for a single shoe, which certainly puts these more in a heavier weight category for shoes I've run in, but still not necessarily heaviest. At the time of recording, I put in 40 miles. So the sizing for this shoe, like I said, a US men's size 12, it's really comfortable enough to let my feet splay out. My toes have some room against the upper and side walls as well, maintaining a secure lockdown all the while. As far as the look of the shoe, I really like the combination of blues and yellows together, making for a really good looking shoe overall. The upper is made of a much more breathable and finely woven mesh than many other trail shoes out there these days. Less likely for your feet to overheat, which is a really great feature in and of itself for this shoe. And that's good news if you're wanting that breathability in the spring, summer, or fall. But if you're wanting to use a shoe that will stay sealed off for winter conditions, you'll likely want to opt for a pair of waterproof socks. Showers Pass has some really great options on their website, so check out the link over here for more details on those socks. The upper comes equipped with welded overlays up front, as well as the toe bumper, keeping your foot protected while out on your trail. You can also make the most of the gaiter setup here. There's actually a Velcro section back here, as well as an elastic loop up front. There's a nice looped pull tab back here as well, right next to the collar, to help you pull the shoe on as well. Before I continue the review, if you're finding this video helpful, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It's super helpful and lets me know how much you appreciate the content I'm putting out by doing so. Thank you so much. There is a gusset in here, and that was a really big help for when I was out on the trails. There were no rocks that got into here, no sand, of course. So I really like the fact that Brooks is starting to add more gussets in all of their shoes. Really helpful. Let's cover the midsole, but first thing before I forget, I took these shoes to the beach, and I was able to use these on back-to-back days. The first day on the last few miles, I ran on the beach itself, running through sections with waterways and rivers, and I have to say these dried up quite well overnight. I rinsed them off when I got back to the hotel and set them in front of a fan and let them dry out to ensure they'd be ready for the next day. But I just wanted to cover that they dry out really well overnight. Now, as far as the ride experience, like I said, these come equipped with DNA Loft version 2. However, it feels different from the Ghost Max that sports the same exact midsole foam. So this midsole has what I would consider to be a little bit more of a stiffer cushioning underfoot, at least for someone my size. If you watch my Ghost Max review, you'll know that I thought this cushioning in the Ghost Max was dialed in perfectly. Whereas with this shoe, even though it's definitely a comfortable enough ride, it's not quite as squishy as I would say as the Ghost Max. These shoes overall feel like they're really great if you like a midsole to be slightly stiffer than some of the other shoes you have in your rotation. There's also a trail adapt plate in the heel portion here of the shoe. It isn't present in the Ghost Max. What this does for runners is provides better stability while on the trails. So the location of the trail adapt plate is on the medial and the lateral part of the shoe. There's actually no indication that it actually goes all the way through. So it only just sticks on these quarter sections here, the medial and the lateral side of the shoe. But overall, this is a really great midsole if you like a stiffer midsole underfoot when you're out on the trails. So this rugged outsole really does you favors in winter conditions, pretty much on technical trails as well too, and obviously for sure on buffed out trails. Whether it's just you want a more tacky grip in rainy conditions on the road or the snow and ice, or you need a technical shoe that gives you grip over the rocks and more trying conditions, some may want to pass as it does feel pretty high in the area of stack height for more technical sections, but that depends on more preference. I would also say that the thickness of the materials of the outsole make this ride a little stiffer for sure. You don't have as much ground feel as you do with other trail shoes. So just know that if you're a big fan of having shoes that give you better ground feedback, this might not necessarily be the shoe for you. The outsole sports lugs of 3.9 millimeters in depth, and I found it quite favorable during my winter runs when it was snowy and there was intermittent ice patches. The outsole also is great for muddy conditions, only minor slipping and sliding in deep mud, but don't forget how breathable this upper is. If you're taking this on mud, you'll still want some waterproof socks. Great in rain, snow, and mud. Sounds like a solid choice for conquering a variety of terrain conditions. If you're finding this video helpful, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It's super helpful and lets me know how much you appreciate the content I'm putting out by doing so. Thank you so much. So how did it feel like running in these shoes? I put in over 40 miles in the heat of summer, took them to Hawaii for hikes and river swims, and ran in these in the dead of winter with compact snow and sub-freezing temperatures. Overall, I think this shoe is really well-rounded. It has some drawbacks to some, such as weight, but to others, some like a stiffer midsole as well. As with so many shoes, it really comes down to personal preference. What do you prefer for your daily trainer out on the trails? Overall, the pros certainly outweigh the cons when it comes to decent minimal to light technical trail conditions. Grippy on wet and snowy conditions, more forgiving midsole in the warmer temps, very stable ride with a very breathable upper. Sheds mud better than most trail shoes I've run in. Overall, I don't have much in the area of complaints. Just a little personal preference differences as any normal shoe has. I wouldn't use these as your first trail shoe necessarily myself. I try to look for something a little bit more cushion in the ride department. Even though I know Brooks designed this for longer distances, I would certainly consider this a road to trail option as well though, especially if you have a relatively even split of roads to trails where you live. There's one shoe that came to mind when I was running in this shoe, and that's the likeness of the Ultra Lone Peak line. This feels similar to that in the way of ability to handle more technical terrain, feedback, and a similar ride underfoot, and a similar rocker geometry as well. The main differences, though, of course, come down to the fact that the Lone Peak sits at the zero drop. I would say the Cascadia 17 sits squarely in the middle of the Ultra Lone Peak and the Salomon Speed Cross, or Spike Cross, as far as effectiveness in shedding mud as well. Take note, this feels similar to the Speed Cross regarding the stiffness of the midsole underfoot, the Cascadia being slightly more pliable and cushioned. Now, I'd love to hear what your favorite trail shoe of all time is. Leave it down in the comments so more of us can share and bond over similarities. If you like any of the products seen in the video, I've provided Amazon affiliate links in the description box below. If you don't know what an Amazon affiliate link is, well, it's a convenient way for you to browse and purchase products I've listed in the video, and in turn, if you both use the link and make a purchase with said link, I receive a small percentage of that sale. And because using the link doesn't add any additional cost to you, you're essentially supporting me with the purchase you've made. So be sure you check out any of the links below for any of the products you like in the video. So that concludes my review of the Brooks Cascadia 17. I hope you found this video helpful. Be sure you click the like button if you did, and let me know if you have any questions by leaving them in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe and to turn on notifications so you don't miss any future content from the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and if anyone asks you what your favorite running YouTube channel is, just tell them it's time to run.